And welcome back to the finale of Intergrade. Yeah, I know, we are wrapping it up in this video. Chapter 2, like I said, is a lot more linear, so you just get through it quicker. I'd say in terms of content, it is around the same length. It's just because, you know, you're not sidetracking for, like, extra content and whatnot. You just go through it a lot quicker. And yeah, this video is pretty long. It's going to have not one, not two, but 3 boss fights in it. So look forward to that, I suppose. But before we can start that, we have more gauntlets, more fighting. And you can buy some echo mists over here, which I buy a few, but I end up not using them. I just brought them there as more like a safety net if it ever felt like a requirement, and just so I had some. But it ends up never having any relevance, so it is what it is. For this gauntlet, you get to pick your prize. You pick what enemy you want to fight, then you hop on the lift, and it will take you to it, you fight them, and after so many fights, you'll then be taken to the end. It wasn't deliberate, but it very much feels like it was. I ended up picking what I think is like the harder option every time through this. And it really wasn't my intention. I just kind of went, alright, I'll just do that one, sure, why not? And every single time it was like, oh, I could have just fought the floating eyeball things, and instead I picked the 2 cutter robots. I thought they were the camera turrets that I was throwing the thing at. Never mind. There's always a manageable option and a okay, really? kind of option. And this is the latter. But after this, we are almost done with this project. The only thing is left will be, I think I'll squeeze it into one bonus video. And that should be ready by the next day. The keyword should, like, there's a few bits and pieces I'll need to, like, I want to clean up, and there's a bit of it I also want to re-record. But I should be on top of that. But there's a huge we'll see. Like, I can't think of any reason, at least right this second, that I won't be on top of it other than laziness. If I just put it off and make, oh, I'll do it later, and then I run out of time because I do it later too much. I procrastinate too much. Which even when you're an adult is still a problem. Even if you're not studying or working towards anything in that sense, it's still a problem that creeps into your life. So in this instance, I look at it and go, sure, these guys look like they're more manageable enemy than the saws. No, I think they're the electric robot things that when you stun them make up the defensive barrier that push you away. When you stagger them, sorry. You know, the really annoying things that I really don't like fighting, and I think it's like the only bad thing about chapter, what is it, 15? These fucking things, and it's 2 of them. That's it. I went, oh, for God's sake, I should have just gone for the other enemy. But yeah, this is literally it. It's literally an unapologetic battle gauntlet. You pick what enemy you want to fight, and you fight onwards. After so many fights, you go to the end, fight a sort of mini boss, but not really, and then you move on. And it's around this stage where you're going to see where I wanted to try and get a move on because I don't like this section too much, because I said it's just so grindy. You're going to see me do the windstorm trick I've been talking about all campaign a lot. You're going to see me throw that shit and then use windstorm to rip out the free damage. Because why not? You're going to see me literally rely on it kind of unapologetically just to try and get a move on a little bit through this section. And these things always have, like, the spam fire as well, so they can kind of hold you in place for a while. But that's nearly done. In fact, I'd go as far to say it is done. And I have Sonon use a bit of thunder magic, because yeah, that's something that I think everyone who plays it forgets about magic, because of Yuffie being able to assign electricity or wind or whatever to her moveset, so literally her weaponry, and Sonon not being directly in control, so you don't feel the need to equip him with magic. It does kind of get sidelined a little bit, but it does have a place. Which I suppose when I eventually do the hard mode run for this, because I've done the main campaign, I just keep on not getting around to doing the Yuffie one. I just haven't been in the mood. It should make it a little bit more manageable, because there will be other options, and I can just worry about healing magic when I need to. Since I won't be using the spells anywhere near that much, and Windstorm's Windstorm. Assuming it doesn't get, like, retooled in hard mode. Because there are a couple skills in the main game that feel like get muted a little in hard mode in the main game. I think I said it in the main game too much.
Deployment procedure.
But yeah, let's whack the button again. We move on again. Rinse and repeat. And I think this is the last one, and afterwards we'll go fight the mini-boss. I think so, anyway. I genuinely don't remember how many of these we have to do. But this one's like the only instance where I think I actually picked the easier one on chance. Because I honestly forgot what most of the encounters were when I was recording. Which is why I stumbled into the hard ones, because I just forgot that that one led to the harder fight. Or what I felt was the more annoying fight. Because like these guys, look at this, is a joke in comparison. They're already nearly done. Oh, and prayer improved, so that's kind of nice.
We're the best. The best there ever was.
Yeah, I think it's at this point the game will only give you one option. Oh no, it's still another one. Never mind. Well, this section's longer than I remember it being. Annoyingly. But I suppose while we're doing it, I can talk about other things. Like I said, that bonus video, I should be able to get it in one. The things I intend to cover is a bit of hard mode in the end game, in the main game, just to show what's different about it. Like I'll show off a bit of the Guard Scorpion fight, show off the last summon fight, show off at least one match of hard mode Fort Condor. And maybe show off the extra super boss you unlock for doing it. But I've never actually bothered tackling it, so I have no idea if I'm even well equipped to win. So it might just be a, hey, this guy exists, fight him if you want. The way I word it like that, in all honesty, it should be a kind of short video. It's just because a lot of grind work behind the scene had to happen to make it happen. Because I had to grind up the materias, you know, and whatnot. But as a whole, it should be... as we take down the moth unit, like, I mean, hot damn.
Hope you learned your lesson.
Analysis concluded.
Now it's the final one. Now it's the final one. Okay. But it shouldn't be too long of a video. I imagine I'll be able to cut it down quite quickly. To be honest, if I really wanted to, I could bring it down to under 2 minutes. But I'll at least show the whole boss fight of the Guard Scorpion. At least show a whole match of Fort Condor hard mode, you know? It's just the rest of it. Like, the optional boss, that'll take a while. Even though I've got a good rhythm and a good strategy for dealing with it, that can still take a while. And the extra boss, like I said, it's entirely down to how much I want to do it. Because I've mentioned right from the word go, I won't be showing off the extra boss fights from the main adventure. Because there's a lot of really tedious and just not interesting things you have to do before you can unlock the last fight. Basically, you have to do every single fight in the Digital Coliseum. That, because they add a whole bunch of new ones once you go into hard mode, and a lot of them are character specific ones, and the Aerith character specific is the reason why I never bothered, because I just don't enjoy playing Aerith alone. She's a support unit, and now you want me to kill a bunch of enemies with her. I can do it, I just don't have any fun doing it. It takes a while, and I know there's ways around it and a lot of fun workarounds and whatnot to make it more manageable, but I just went, now I'll pass. And because I almost never show it off, I tried to make a point of using a synergy skill there. Just because I genuinely don't think they're worth it half the time, because you're wasting one ATB from both of you instead of just one of you. It's usually better to just have Sonon worry about using magic or insight to try and get the enemy to attack them. And that's kind of it, whilst Yuffie does the heavy lifting. If you try and make it so both of them are doing the heavy lifting, you might just get yourself caught when you need Sonon to do something. But because you can't control him, you can't build up his ATB particularly quick. But after all that, the implication in the story is that it's combat data. They were analysing all your fights to make a machine that will best be able to deal with you. But to be honest, unlike the Airbuster, I've never noticed any difference full stop. And this is coming from someone who, as I mentioned before, I said, regardless of what you take, it doesn't feel like it matters too much with the Airbuster. It at least felt like it mattered more than it does here. The boss fight we're going to be coming up against, genuinely, I have never noticed a difference regardless of what enemies I've picked. I just think it's flavor text because they wanted to make this section a bit longer. So they went, let's say if you fight some enemies, then just have Scarlet say something like, oh, combat data. But when you're ready, there's another bench and save there because we are approaching the next boss. And this one is kind of fun just because of what it implies for the overarching story, especially if you've played the original.
Where are we? That thing can't be operational, can it?
We better hope not, boss.
At long last, Wu Tai's finest deigned to join us. You've performed admirably.
Quit acting all superior. We both know you're afraid of us.
Is that so? Well, maybe I am.
You should know there's more where we came from. Lots more. And you'll never see them coming. Just imagine a whole clan of ninjas landing on your doorstep.
Oh my! We must do something right away.
Well, you can't.
Don't say that. Won't you at least give us a chance?
What the?
Allow me to present the latest innovation in Shinra battle armor. Designed by yours truly. This'll be a memory to cherish for the rest of your lives. All 30 seconds of them.
There's an infamous, well, I say infamous, semi-infamous boss fight from the very, very tail end of the original adventure, where you go back to have one more jab at Shinra, and you fight another mech, and it's like the hardest mech of all of Shinra's best tech. This boss, the Crimson Mare, its design, although it's not identical, is reminiscent of that. It's a prototype of that boss fight. And I'm not going to spoil what that boss fight actually is if you haven't played the original, because as I keep saying, the biggest thing I'd love for people who have watched this Let's Play is to not only give the remake a go, but to give the original a go. Yes, it came out in '97 on the PS1, and so it's a little dated, but it's also available on literally everything nowadays. And I still think it holds up really well, even if visually it's dated. But the idea of this boss is that Scarlet's going to constantly change weaponry. The arms can be broken, but when they're both broken, eventually she'll replace them. So they're a temporary solution to break them, but not a permanent. Your main focus is that Scarlet, in her infinite confidence, sort of like when you're fighting Liquid at the end of Metal Gear Solid 1, and he's in the Metal Gear, there's no protective covering. She's completely exposed because of the armor plating on it. She wouldn't be able to see you if she wasn't exposed. So attack her. If you get her health to hit 0, well, she will faint for a brief period of time, making so the machine will do nothing, allowing you to wail on the machine freely. And then when she wakes back up and comes back to her senses, then you have to deal with it again. Windstorm range is your best friend throughout the entire fight because it will hit everything in the machine, including Scarlet. And, you know, the damage. I'd say probably the biggest threat is what she's just brought out now. The giant sword and the shield can be a real pain in the neck to deal with. And if you get hit cleanly with that sword, it'll hurt. As you can imagine by the size of the damn thing, it'll hurt a lot. So your best bet, at least for me, it's having Sonon try and take all of the weight of the fight and just have Yuffie do what she does best. Set up the Thunder Ninjutsu and just windstorm the thing to death. And it's don't just worry about using the magic attacks on the in-between. And when you fill up the banishment, use that, get the free damage, and if you get a full charged banishment, it'll almost always advance the phase. Because as I mentioned before, full charged banishments are kind of insane in terms of the damage they deal. If you can get a stagger on the boss and then do it, I'm willing to bet even on hard mode, it will advance boss phases. Because the damage is just baffling. It's also around this point where I go, oh, I haven't actually shown off the summon yet. I've just been killing everything so quickly, it hasn't shown up at all. I should really make a point of showing it off. So I summon Ramu here, and you're going to see me drag out the fight and deliberately not kill it. Because I knew if I just kept attacking, I would absolutely kill this boss before Ramu has a chance to show off his special. And the other two boss fights of this, I knew from my practice run, they neither were going to last long enough to really use Ramu properly. I say that, I got a kind of rough-ish run with the next boss, but the actual final boss, no, it goes around about as smoothly as it did in my practice run. So I just go, I attack it for a bit, but when I start noticing that Scarlet, the Crimson Mare itself is actually pretty low on health, you just see me kind of linger back and just hang back and kind of like, let's see how this goes. Only using a few chip damage, because eventually I get the idea, if I can cripple the weaponry, I can just wait. Because if I cripple the weaponry, it'll wake up and it will move off of the arena. so it won't be able to be killed until it comes back. But because it will be out of the arena, Ramuh won't do its special until it comes back down, so I can lock in being able to do this way. So I just sit here and I just wait. I'm like, it's going to come back down, and then Ramuh will run out of energy and will use the special. And because of how low their health is, there's a very good chance Ramuh will kill it. So if I just hold my ground and wait it out a little. Yes, yes, have your fun. Here it is. And Ramuh gets to lay down the final smackdown. Thanks for the fight, Scarlet. See you in probably part 3.
Useless! Not nearly mobile enough. Should have known those actuators weren't up to the task. Time for an overhaul.
Hello? My. How the tables have turned. Huh?
Proud of yourself, little savage?
What are you doing? Sleep well.
Vice, this is a surprise. To what do I owe the pleasure?
These idiots want to digitally replicate me, so I'm indulging them.
All set. Transporting!
When will Shinra learn? There is no replicating you. They ought to know better.
Looking forward to this.
I am. It has been too long since my last hunt.
What'd you do? Tell us!
Is this how it's done in Wutai? You just howl until you get what you want?
That's enough, Sonon. I got this. All right, lady, out with it. Tell us where you're hiding the new materia. Don't play dumb now. We know you've been cooking up something super powerful.
Well, Wutai must have some highly skilled intelligence operatives. That, or we have a mole in our midst.
What was...
I'll check on it.
All right, but make it quick.
You are correct that we're in the process of creating an exquisite new materia. However, it is far from complete.
Yeah, right. You must think I'm stupid.
Would I lie to you? Regrettable though it is, other plans have been deemed a higher priority.
What other plans?
Well, just between you and me, my colleagues and I are going to drop plate number 7 on the slums. And then we're going to blame it on Avalanche and Wutai.
I don't get it. You're gonna drop a plate? And?
Oh dear! I think your friend might have run into trouble. Aren't you going to save him? Quickly now!
Remember when I said that the only thing that it felt like the main game didn't reference from the compilation of Final Fantasy VII was Dirge of Cerberus? Well, clearly they heard me. because we're about to go explore, you know, Deep Ground, which is the biggest blight that came from Dirge of Cerberus, but one thing at a time.
There you are.
Who are these assholes?
No clue. Just appeared.
Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but
Just hit me with it.
there is no ultimate materia. Not yet. She said it's still in the works. And she mentioned something else. They're gonna drop plate number 7.
They're gonna do what?
They're gonna drop plate number 7 on the slums. Apparently.
Blow up a part of the sector.
Wait. So GJ was being serious?
This is bad.
Deep Ground is a super hidden away underground project that didn't exist at all in the original and didn't exist for about 90% of the compilation, and then Dirge of Cerberus fucking happened. But no, I don't mean to be too cruel on it. The way they handle it in this, I think, is very effective, and it's a million times more interesting than it ever was in Dirge. Because it was literally just, oh, did you like that plot line that Shinra have secret projects in the original 7, which is not spoilers, like that's kind of hinted at in the main game of the remake, that they have a bunch of secret operations and whatnot. Well, we decided to do it again, but this time it's more anime, and like some of the soldiers can, you know, teleport for no reason. And that's kind of what Deep Ground was in Dirge. And you kind of already saw it where you saw Weiss and Nero in that cutscene where they were talking all like, oh, the scientists want to do an experiment, do they, brother? All that shit, like, they're super anime as hell, and they were like genuinely a blight to the original game, it felt like, or the original game's story when they came up in Dirge.
The corner! Punch him in!
Wait! Give it up!
That's the spirit! Let him have it!
I'm going down till I get to the happy turtle!
Grenade out!
Is it over?
Somehow, I seriously doubt it.
But anyway, the rest of this chapter is going to move by pretty quick. Because once we escape from this pod, it's one corridor with no enemies on it and the final boss. Literally, that's it. We just need to get out of here first, which is where the next-ish bit of the game happens. It's going to activate an AI program, and we need to break the AI program before we can leave. Which leads to the second boss of the trio. Even though it doesn't really have any phase transitions, not even that, so it's more of a mini-boss, I suppose. It's just, it requires a bit of time, and you got to work on it a little bit, and you got to put things together, yada yada. Because I knew we were near the end, I decided to do what I did in the main story again, which is, now we're near the end, showcase my actual full setup. I put experience up on Yuffie because I was like, well, I might make this the profile I bring into hard mode anyway, so a couple extra levels won't go amiss, just to kind of even up the odds when I eventually do. While Sonon, I give him elemental materia just to kind of help even the odd and make it so I don't have to worry about what magic he's actually got a little bit more. Auto-cured Steadfast are there to work in tandem, to keep me going while also not sacrificing himself in the process. But once you're ready, try and leave.
Work, you stupid. No good. Door won't budge.
Meaning we're trapped.
I want them to suffer. The rest, I leave to you.
What was that?
They figure we need a challenge, meaning we're in for a world of hurt.
No fair!
Time for another gauntlet, and it's going to end in like a boss slash mini boss, but kind of not really, somewhere in the middle. I didn't have assess on, so I had to try and work off memory what these guys were weak to, and I was like, I think it's fire? I honestly could not remember, but it doesn't matter because Windstorm is ridiculous. Annoyingly, however, when you defeat a wave, it counts as ending the encounter. And so your banishment will reset every time you kill the enemies. Which I said is very frustrating, because it will also reset your elemental ninjutsu. So if you want to re-establish that, you have to every time. If you want to keep that, you have to do it each time. Like, banishment was only on banishment 1, even though we'd used 3 skills. It should have been on banishment 2, but because they treat it all as separate encounters, it's not as simple as that. So I just gang up on this one using the synergy, since like I said, I'm aware I haven't been using it that much. I say that the synergized Windstorm is a very good alternative because of the extra damage it does. It's just I feel like it's easier to do the throw and use because of how abusive it can be, while also not sacrificing Sonon's ATB. Now it's time for Wave 3. You notice the trend of why I'm not the biggest fan of Summer Chapter 2, where we started this video doing waves of enemies, and now here we are doing waves of enemies again. Not that long later, we only had a boss fight to break it up. Like, just remember I said in Chapter 1, so I love what they do with Chapter 1, because it feels like they really took in the lesson of the criticism, where they needed to be more involvement in the environment. And so we had a lot of it, especially in that later half, when we was doing the runaround, where we was climbing on things, where we had to rework things for the puzzle and whatnot. And now here we are, back to corridors and fighting, with very little in between. But this is the mini-boss slash boss of it. The Diabolical Creation, every time you kill it, will destroy the defensive barrier on the projector, making all of these things. So your idea is that you're just killing the creation to attack the projector, but you'll never be able to kill the projector in one cycle. At least I've never been able to. So you're gonna be fighting this thing several times. The thing has a bunch of grab attacks, which is just, you know, really nice and dandy. If you can break off its right arm, it will lose access to most, but not all of its grabs. And then when you kill it, your best bet is to try and kill it when you've got full ATB. But you're going to see here, like, I start to push on the attack, but once I know I'm nearly killed on it, I hold back a little on using ATB, because I want to be able to unleash everything on the projector. Which doesn't really work on the first attempt, but it's usually my go-to. So I use Banishment there to get some extra damage. Annoyingly, I was one ability off rank 3. I thought I was on rank 3, I just miscounted. But that could have been a lot better for me if I had noticed. And you saw that, I didn't quite manage to one cycle it. As I said before, if I had the max charge, I might have been able to do 2. But on my practice run, I usually have the full charge and get it onto like a pixel of health left before it brings up the next form. So you really don't have to work too hard to finally wrap up the entire fight. Which is why Ramuh only really gets one showcase in this, because this fight ends really quickly anyway. Even though it's not as smooth as what it was in my practice run. I said in my practice run, it was a lot cleaner. But that thing can't be held. The moment you press the recording button, anything can happen. And to be honest, the whole of Chapter 1 was recorded before I started doing my live streaming. The whole of Chapter 2 was recorded like 2 or 3 streams in. And so my practice wasn't as clean because I've been playing other stuff. And to be fair, as of this recording, I've 100%ed Danganronpa 1 now. I've got every single trophy and got all of and got everything. The only trophy that was annoying to grind was because I was spending the mono coins as I got them. I didn't realize that the trophy that says have 999 meant actually have on you 999, not get 999 over the course of the journey. If it was the latter, I probably would have had it by the time I finished the game. But because I've been spending it, I had to do like, I just did, I think it was case 2 on repeat like 5 or 6 times until I hit 999, because that case I find extremely easy. Once you've done it once, it's extremely easy to put together each time. So I just go through it, skip all the dialogue, and have it done in about 15 minutes per attempt. Well, 15 to 20 per attempt. And after about 5 or 6 runs, I hit 999, so it was all well and good. And so when this uploads, it might be on the day of this uploading. So there's no point in me saying it, but at some point soon, I will be going straight to Dangan 2 because I'm really curious to see where the story goes after how the first one ended. And I'm being vague just in case you are planning on watching it or whatever. I don't want to spoil anything. But you know what I said after you leave the room, it's literally just a corridor and then the boss? Well, yeah, this is just a corridor and there's the boss. And that's the final boss of the DLC. So make sure you've got everything prepared. Because although this fight doesn't have anywhere near as much health as, you know, the main game's final boss, a lot of people game over on this fight. I see a lot of people genuinely struggle to figure out this boss. Once you do, however, I genuinely think it's as manageable as every other boss in this DLC.
Subjects on site. It's time. Initiate the VII field test.
Sir.
Where my brother and I like to play.
Cool. Now mind moving aside.
Let's take a different tack.
Well, can't blame a girl for trying.
Now, let the games begin.
Right, this creepy edgelord is called Nero. The biggest gist of this fight is that if you can stagger him, or no, sorry, pressure him. Don't worry about stagger too much. If you can get him into a pressured state, the pressured state will only end if a combat flow is dropped. So you see there that he was pressured for about half a second, but because no one was attacking him, it ended. If you can maintain the flow, you can pressure him until the credits roll. I'm not kidding. What I mean by this is that anytime Yuffie's attack animation is about to end, have Sonon do something so you can start building up ATB and get back into the swing of it. Then once you've got ATB, take over for Sonon. Make it so damage numbers are always happening to Nero. If you can maintain that, the pressure will never end. In fact, it's never going to end so severely that the first phase is going to end just us doing this. You only got to do like 2 or 3 attacks, there goes phase 1.
Abnormal readings detected. The control program's been compromised.
Containment protocol!
You're dead!
How dare you? How dare you stand in my way?
I will say though, I love Nero's theme. The battle theme against Nero. The first phase I didn't think too much of, but the build up going into phase 2, then the piece that's playing right now in phase 2, oh. It's a shame we're not going to get to hear all of it because I immediately start the pressure game on Nero again and he never does anything else in this phase. Because, you know, as I keep saying, if you can just keep up hitting him, doesn't matter if you're only doing 1 damage, if you can just make it so there's a flow and there's never a pause for him to recover, you will phase lock him. You will make it so he cannot do anything, and phase 2 ends with him literally being able to do nothing. final phase, he is going to become a lot more aggressive, and he does have a couple soft lock things or stun lock things to make it so if you do keep up the stun pattern for too long, once his HP hits certain thresholds, he will be forced out of it. And also something that ends up becoming a bit of a recovery process as well. If you stagger, once he recovers from the stagger, he will be recovered. He won't go into pressure. You have to re-pressurize him. The easiest way to get the pressure is the age-old trick of throwing Windstorm. Throw it out on him, use Windstorm, watch that word underneath his name just suddenly pop up. But he has some evil grab attacks, and you can see that he has like an absorption thing going on in the background, where the darkness of his energy, because like I said, he's super anime, like for no good reason. Deep Ground as a whole is like this. The darkness itself, like it's bloody Kingdom Hearts, is absorbing life energy from us, so we need to keep on top of that and be wary that our health is going to be ticking down. But the pressure game's already back on. You saw right there though, the moment his health hit the last quarter, he like snapped out of it. Like he didn't recover, he literally snapped into this attack animation. They do have one or two things to try and make it so you can't lock him into it. And now we're basically in that drain mode, but it's more severe. It's going to be draining health a lot faster than it was earlier. Your best bet is to kind of keep your distance just for now. Have someone heal, whether it be you or Sonon for whatever reason, just kind of keep people topped up. And then once you get some good ATB on backup and your health's in a comfortable position, go on the pressure game again. You can break his wings, and you can break those wings real easy with, you know, throwing Windstorm. And doing so will really just make the game end for you. The moment you break those wings, the fight's fucking over. The fight's over. And that is genuinely the final boss of this DLC. Did you see how quick it was? Once you know what to do with him, he's a joke.
Yes! I must know more of this feeling. Of pain. Of death. Now, let's finish this!
Don't gotta tell me twice! Did we?
We did.
Awesome.
Don't want to spoil the moment, but we should probably get going.
But I'm so tired.
If I could carry you.
You win. Sheesh. Aha!
Going. For us.
No. Stop it. Sonon! Don't think I can do this alone. The amazing Yuffie wants you! Join her team and the sky's the limit!
And thus ends Yuffie's DLC. It's short and to the point, but I still like it, even with my grievances with Chapter 2. The boss fights are fun, the gameplay mechanic is a promising step for the future because it genuinely feels like it improves on what was set before and goes out of its way to address criticisms of the main game. I have to keep this short because the credits are tiny. They only show off the credits of the new voice cast and that's it. They don't show off the original credit screen or whatever. As a whole, it's worth trying. And I think it is promising for the future. There are a few questionable hints at the end there with with Nero taking over Sonon's body, and I imagine that'll be a thing in part 2. But that's kind of it. The rest of this is just going to be cutscenes. So thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll probably see you in that bonus video. Until then though, take care now. Peace.
Yep.
Calm's still pretty far though, isn't it?
Another full day, give or take.
Question. When my mom says a full day, she means from the time you get up in the morning till the time you go to bed. But for me, it means from the time you get up in the morning all the way through till the time you get up the next morning. So, which is it for you?
Gotta go with Elmira on that one.
That's a relief.
Is it though?
Cloud, bet you've had to hoof it from sunup to sundown tons of times. This is all just same old, right?
That's right. But even so, we're all gonna need to stop and rest. Especially you.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, marching into the unknown ain't easy. But don't worry, because I'm here to lead the way.
That's comforting.
Of course it is! Alright, everyone, let's stop here for a minute. Leader's orders. Now breathe in that fresh air. Actually, scratch that. Let's, save it for later, when we're not so close to Midgard.
Guess this is goodbye, City of Mako.
Like this?
Yep, just like that.
Cool.
No way! A car!
What is it with these damn birds?
Sorry about that.
No need to apologize, man.
Look at that. Where's a roof when you need one?
Gonna be okay?
Should be, but... weird. My stomach's in knots.
That's its way of telling you it's hungry. Let's move!
It's been a while, huh? Long time no see. How you been? Listen. Hey. I'm back!